Hi, Brandy. Thank you so much for being here, being available to tell these amazing women who are potentially considering signing up for Seductress about your experience. So, before we dive in, why don't you tell everyone who you are, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I love that I get to be here and share my experience with everybody. So, I am an accountant and wellness influencer. And as she shared, I'm Brandy Middleton, and I'm just excited to be here and share with you guys.
Awesome. So, I know, Brandy, if someone's watching this video, they're thinking about potentially enrolling in Seductress, which is a high-level inner circle mastermind with me. And so why don't you tell the women a little bit about what was going on for you when you decided to enroll in the program, and maybe even any hesitations or fears you had about joining the program?
Yeah, I love this question because I know those reservations come up for a lot of people sometimes when they're looking at things. And for me, I was really, really excited, right? I was excited to be a part of the program. I was excited because I've been following Lauren for years and I knew she knew her stuff, right? So I could see it actually being in a room with her and seeing her like actually interact with people and with men. And I was like, I want that. But one of my biggest reservations was money, which I think is a big one for a lot of people. And for me, I was just super concerned not because I didn't know that I would get the value, because I knew that I would. It was just looking at my actual numbers and how was I going to make this happen, right? And I'd kind of been sitting on the sideline for a while. And so for me, it was like I knew I had to do it. I just had to figure out how I was going to come up with the money. And so it was really great as I was able to just sit down with Lauren, just have the conversation, be open, figure out solutions, right? To come up with the money so that I could pay for the program, right? And we just were able to work together. And I love that about Lauren.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I do know that money tends to be a big barrier for a lot of women. But what I want to point out here with you, Brandy, is like you were committed. You knew you wanted to be a part of the program. And when a woman has that really deep desire, that really deep pull, it is just a question of figuring out how. It's not when it's a question of, do I want this or not? I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. That's not really an empowered place to be in, right? When we're making these decisions. But if you're like, I know I want this, there's so much more that becomes available for you, whether it's the options on how to pay for something or even just how money comes in. So I hear money was a big reservation for you, but what else was going on in your life that you're like, this is like, I want to do this program now? Like, what was happening for you in your love life, or what wasn't happening for you in your love life that you're like, I need this now?
Right. So basically, I'm 37 years old, right? And one of the biggest things that I've wanted my entire life was my person, my partner. And another thing that I wanted was to be able to, and I didn't know what the word, the concept was at the time, but really I wanted to be able to learn how to embody my feminine. And so for me, I wanted to be able to, I knew like when I walked into a room, just based on, I guess, who I was and how I look, people came up to me, but I wanted to be able to do it like on purpose and like literally it coming from within me and not just something that maybe my parents gave to me from birth, And so one of the things that as I mentioned earlier, Lauren, I was able to see her just do this, like sitting in a room, like just attracting like men and just a bunch of stuff in life that I was like, oh, I want to be able to do that. And for me, like I said, from a really young age, I knew that I wanted to be my person, and I knew that I wanted to exude this sexy, feminine appeal. And like it was a desire of mine. And it was weird because I was a tomboy, but I knew that I wanted this thing, right? And so I pushed it. I shoved it down for years. I went after business. I went after money. I went after everything else but that. And every now and again, I'd look up and be like, oh, I don't have my person. And then when I like hit 37, I realized that I have this pattern. I had this pattern of shoving this thing that I desired and wanted so deeply for such a long time, chasing something out of a lot of it. I feel like was fear and scarcity thinking, because the biggest argument in my household was about money. And so for me, I felt like I got to figure out this money thing so that I could be in a relationship. And so it was always like being pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And now I was sitting here, not so much feeling like time was running out, but for lack of better words, and I think women will understand, I kind of felt like time was running out, right? Like I'm 37. I wanted to be with my person, and I wanted to do it now versus, 40, 45, later in life. And I was done waiting.
Definitely. And I think so many women can relate to that on a few fronts, right? We've been taught with this idea of success and power is putting your head down, striving, pushing ahead, getting it done, taking your independence. And all of that is necessary and so powerful for us as women. But I do think that it leads to very powerful, independent women shoving down this desire for love because they may think of it as weak, right? It's this like desire that's so deep in our heart. I really want this, or I also want the family, or this is what I want my life to look like. But is that really powerful? Like, does that also match up with this independence, power, and success that I also really, really resonate with? And I do think so many women, not only do they push that desire down, but they push down the desire to be sexy too. So this leads me to my next question, Brandy. There's a lot of programs out there when it comes to love, men, attraction, and as you know, my program is called Seductress.
Yeah.
So that brings up a lot of stuff for people. So I'm curious, like, why did you pick Seductress, the concept of Seductress, this program? And I know you've mentioned a little bit about interacting with me and seeing how men respond to me, but then honestly, like, what had you drawn to my work specifically?
Well, I loved actually the term seductress. I know that for some people it might actually be a trigger. I didn't see that because I saw kind of what was underneath it. What I saw was the conversation about magnetism. And I feel like it's pervasive in so many things, like when it comes to men, when it comes to money, when it comes to getting what it is you want in life. And I've been a proponent of, manifestation, law of attraction for years. And so I knew it was just another concept of that. And so for me, I wasn't triggered by that. And I actually, as I had said, seen Lauren in action, and I know who Lauren is, right? And I know that she loves men, and she loves herself, and she loves people, and it's not this space of wanting to manipulate, which I feel like a lot of people come up with this idea of being a seductress and like manipulating people. And so for me, I love the whole concept, right? I love the idea of being able to be in my feminine. And so for me, a big piece of that was one, my following you and knowing you for so long, actually getting to meet you and speak with you in person, seeing you in action, as we've talked about, and actually also seeing a lot of people that we personally know get the results that they were wanting to get from listening and interacting with you. So I think it was a lot of experience of you and the extension of you out there in the world, and seeing it happen in your own life as well. So I was just excited. Like, I was just like I've seen so many, and I follow actually a lot of love coaches. Yeah. And I also know that you studied with one of the women that I'd been following for a while. And so I had a personal connection. I knew that you knew your stuff. I could see it happening, and I just was like, I need to learn what she's learning and what she knows. And so basically, also I felt like in order for me to find my man, or connect with my man or attract my man, I needed to work on me first. And so I knew a lot of programs that I was seeing were about finding the guy. And that's really important to me, as I spoke about. But for me, I knew first that I needed to work on the internal piece, because as I kind of mentioned before, I could attract people. Like guys would come, but they would never stay, or they wouldn't be the right guy. And so I knew that I could get a guy. I mean, I've been proposed to almost twice. So I was like, I knew that I could get a guy. I didn't want a guy. I wanted my guy, and I needed to be the best version of me to attract that version of a man that I wanted. And so for me, it was important to me to be part of this program so that I could learn to embody my feminine, work on me from the inside out, and be able to attract an even more enhanced, fabulous man.
Amazing. So I'm curious, Brandy, there's, as you know, so much content in this program, so many modules. It's full of information and embodiment practices. So why don't you tell the women, what did you really get from the program? And especially, what was the most surprising thing for you around like what you got?
Mm-hmm. I love that question. So one of the things that I did love all of the practices. So literally being able to just work through each of the pieces. But I think the most powerful ones for me were the ones where I got to practice embodying my feminine, because it was very difficult for me. Like the exercises where I have to go into that sexy realm, or touching myself or talking about a certain part, and I'm just like, oh my God, like this feels so weird. Like I don't ever do this. And so basically, I just loved being able to go and move through that resistance and have the space and the container to be able to do that with your support and the support of the sisterhood, right? And having everyone that were going through the same experiences together to be able to speak to like their experience and be able to support you in your experience, and it just being a love fest in a sense, like just support and love and a different experience of women than I've actually experienced up until that point. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Amazing. Yeah. And so we've been talking a little bit about the practices. And one thing to me that is so important as part of this program is it's not just information. We live so much in our heads, and especially as powerful, successful women, we're used to only being in our heads, right? Like getting it done, problem solving, taking in information, thinking about it critically. But this program really is to help you move from your head into your body and into the feminine, into these parts of who you are as a woman, these elements of your feminine expression, the sensuality, the sexuality, the love that we can hold within our bodies. So I know you really, really enjoyed the practice. How did you see Seductress impacting all areas of your life, right? So, of course, you were being flirtatious and going on dates and attracting in different kinds of men, but how does this program impact other areas of your life?
It's impacted all areas of my life. So basically, one of the things that I didn't even think about or didn't even know actually, I was doing one of the exercises, your sex magic exercise, but I didn't realize, because I've been doing personal development and like meditation, all these different forms, visualization, but I saw myself being able to access certain parts of my routines and my personal development in a whole new way, and kind of upgrading what it is that I was doing in other areas, and therefore being able to really attract in a lot more things. So as you know, I actually attracted more money as well. So that's been really, really good. That was something that, I didn't join the program to do, but but it was a really good side benefit of really joining the program. So I use it, all of the time. And whenever I feel like, I'm kind of plateauing or something's kind of just feeling blah, like I will actually go into my like feminine exercises and my body exercises, and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's why. I wasn't like tuning in. And so I can see it in every aspect. Like when I show up places, like it at my job, like I've literally changed the entire environment at my job. And so it's fascinating. I love the work, and I will continue to use everything that you have taught me.
Oh, yay! So is there anything else, Brandy, that you can think of for a woman who may be on the fence or really intrigued by the idea of the program, be a little scared or hesitant? Anything else you want to share with the women before we close out?
Yeah, be like Nike, just do it.
I love it. I love it.
Don't overthink it. And I mean, she was talking about thinking earlier. I'm a Virgo. I'm a thinker. I'm in my head a lot. And that was a big part of the problem for me, right? Like I'm in my masculine. I'm like thinking all the time. And I knew that that wasn't working for what it is that I wanted to accomplish when it came to my man, right? My person. And so, yeah, if you're thinking about it, or you have any sort of desires that we kind of even maybe spoke to earlier, or others that have this inkling for wanting to join or be a part, I would say just do it. Like at least speak to Lauren and figure out a way to make it happen, because I'm just so glad that I did, right? Because I knew I was struggling with the money, for example. I knew that I didn't know how I was going to be able to pay. Like I had no idea how I was going to be able to pay for it. And I literally was like, I need to join, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to call Lauren. Right. And it was the best thing that I ever did, because I was able to be a part of this sisterhood, the community, and I was able to learn so much, which has upgraded me. And I was able to make more money. So it was cool. And so, and everything else, the men, the people, the office environment, like everything around me has completely changed. And it'll continue to get even better as I continue to better embody the practices, since it's still relatively new to me too. So I'm excited. And yeah, if you're thinking about it, do it. Yeah, like Nike, just do it.
Thank you so much for your time, Brandy. And yeah, Brandy was so excited when she joined. She like hit the ground running. And if you're thinking about it, even if you have some hesitation, as Brandy did, feel more into the excitement piece of it, right? So Brandy, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, make sure to reach out.